Now here in the studio, once again, socially distancing. It feels like you're so far away. I have Nate Grahek. He is a St. Paul local.
Yes.
So it's amazing to have you join me here in person, even during these non-travel COVID times. So Nate actually is the focus of the most downloaded Startups for the Rest of Us episode ever. And I mean, it's probably 200 episodes ago, but it's how a non-technical founder built a 7-figure SaaS app, if I recall, something
Sounds
like
right.
that.
Yep.
So Nate is the founder of Sticky Albums, and he founded that in 2012. He's a former portrait photographer and a corporate trainer, and he loves anything radio controlled. Is that like cars and airplanes?
It is, yeah.
That's cool.
Yes.
So he and I are going to dive into a topic that I think inspires both fear and perhaps some aspiration in many bootstrap founders. It's the ability to delegate responsibilities to your team so that they can get the job done without you hovering over them. So I think you have some email rules or tips for empowering your team.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Just driving in, that's weird.
Yeah.
Reflecting on the last 9 years of running my business, listening to the story of Squadcast just really brought me back to how grateful I am for this community you've created. So it's an honor to be here to give back, and even a little bit. Thinking back, I grew to $1 million in ARR in 2 years. So that really relating to that, all of a sudden, where's my life? What kind of balance, semblance? I had 2 new kids, and I learned these lessons haphazardly.
Yep.
So I think the first thing I learned is the right type of communication has to happen in the right channels. So right now, let's just talk about email. And I think that for as much love as Slack gets, I still think there's some good things about email, even internally, instead of just interrupting each other all the time. So number one, I set these rules with my team. You want to get a quick response from me, it has to pass the yes test. What I mean by that is, for any of you, if you want to send this, try to get attention to somebody, a VIP, or just to give these rules to your new team or new and growing team, make sure that when they send an email, it passes a yes test. Meaning, we can all use our imagination. How great is it in Gmail? I think this is a Labs feature where it gives you those 3 suggestion buttons. God, I love those. I love hitting, yep, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's done. Guess what? Those emails get replied to first. So I walk through these 3 rules. Number 1, give me a good, useful subject line. Don't use the word urgent, because if it's urgent, it shouldn't be an email. Number 2, give me what you recommend. And even though we typically will give the whole context, give the story of the issue, what's happening, and then we'll wrap up with a recommendation, I tell my team to put that at the top. So I can just glance it. I know what is you're going to try to do or what you recommend. And then if I need to, I can scan down to the needed context. And that's the 3rd element. And so I say, give me screenshots. Don't assume that I'm on my phone. I'm on vacation maybe. I don't have time to log into which Facebook group something's happening in or which system. Just take a screenshot and put it in the email, and it's there if I need it. And then I can respond with, yep, that's awesome. I'll also walk them through, so make sure you don't put in too many to-dos. This is a big one. For a while, my team thought they were being helpful by giving me like the summary. But for a lot of us still, for better or worse, our inbox is our to-do list in some ways. And so what was happening is if I had an email with 5 things I had to do, they'd have to sit there until I got all 5 of them done. Instead, if you just break it up into 5 emails, I can knock those out really quickly. So for those of you watching, the tricky part here is how do we deliver this message? How do I get my team to follow these rules, right?
Yep.
So I think the biggest one is just to use some humor, some humility, and apologize when having a one-on-one and going, you know what, look, I'm really sorry. I owed you these emails, or I should have got back to you sooner. This is what, if we follow this set of rules, it'll help me empower you to continue to do the work. And I think that's probably the bigger point here is like just really learning how to delegate, right?
Yep.
I think that it's fun for a while when you're in the weeds and you get to do everything, but the more I would let's just take an example of a bad email. Hey, Nate, so-and-so said something on Facebook. What should I do about it? I don't know. Where on Facebook? Who? Like, what's the history? What's the context? Then I would just go do it because it felt urgent to me and I'd want to go just solve it. But I was conditioning my team to just give me alerts. They weren't actually doing and solving it themselves. So when I switched to this system, it really empowered them to do the work. And it feels so good to be, I think you and Sherry talk a lot about the value of vacation and taking a breather. And it's such a good stress test for your business and for your team to step away. And I personally take such pride in being able to see the team handle it and me just say, you got it. And it empowers them the next time they know what to do, and it just starts to snowball in the right direction.
Right. Very cool. It reminds me of, the kind of the managerial adage of bring problems, not solutions.
Yeah.
And that's in essence what you're saying is you're trying to level people up. Look, I remember I was right out of college. I was 21 years old, I think, and I got a job as a project manager. And I wasn't even a project. I was a project coordinator or something, which is like below it. And I'd go to the project managers and I'd say, oh my gosh, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to do. And so it took me a few years to learn, I started learning from what these project managers would tell me, and I was realizing, they're thinking about it in a systematic way,
Right.
and they would give me a few, solutions, and I would go back and implement one, and I realized, why can't I start doing that? I'm a smart person, right? And so that's what you're doing. You're like leveling up your own team with this.
Yep, and I think it's a double-edged sword. You have to really trust and be okay that your team can do it at least 80 to 90% as good as you can. It's always going to be different, but being able to see their thought process. The other thing is, think about, and this is a message you can deliver to your team too when implementing this. Say, look, let's just pretend I'm your diving coach. I can only help you so much talking about it or me doing the dive and showing you what to do. But where the real growth comes is when you just get up and start jumping off the diving board. Then, that's the connection here is when your team starts giving you their recommendation. That's the big risk, right? When they say, I recommend we should do this.
Yep.
At first, they're going to be insecure about it. So you have to be gentle about what critiques you give and say, look, you did great here. Here's a slight thing to add. Make sure you copy this person, or let's do this too, but awesome recommendation. So that conditions them to continue wanting to do it and empowering them to really do their job without you.
Yep.
But it's at the end of the day what we really want.
So what were the rules again?
Number one, you need a useful subject line.
Okay.
Number two, make sure they include what they recommend.
Yep.
Number three, any required context with screenshots instead of links to things.
Got it. Why not links? What do links do? How do links make things more complicated for you?
It breaks the yes test. So I tell people, here's the tricky part to walk is I want people to know, I want them to pretend like I'm on vacation almost, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be delicate delivering that message, but you bring it back to what they want. They want growth. They want to stay productive. They want to show you that they can handle it. And so you focus on those things. That's why I don't want links, is because I am on my phone and I don't have the password, or it's not a mobile friendly, if there are any of those still. It's like a really bad interface that I don't want to go digging in. Just give me the screenshot, because I don't really need to know all of it. I can just scan and see it with a screenshot.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, this may sound crazy if you're a team of 2 people or a team of 3 people, but you get to where you're managing 6, 8, 10 people,
Right.
and suddenly this is a big issue, because even if you're not on your phone, you just can't respond. You can't solve everyone's problems all the time, right?
Exactly.
You should be getting yourself as a manager or a CEO or a founder into a position where only the real bad fires are coming up to you.
Exactly.
And that can be tough, because then your whole day is just fighting really bad fires, and I've been there. But if the better you make your team, the more they can handle these. So you talked a little bit about like the beauty of doing it, so you can go on vacation and kind of have more freedom or get more done. Are there any other, like, in your experience, why did you need to make these rules? Any other reasons beyond that?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a bonus concept in here, because it's one of my favorite analogies I think that I have. So we had a very agile team of like 3 people in product and 2 or 3 people in support. And we were all on a 2-week on-hands dev call. That was our best 2-week call. And I wanted to eliminate all of the direct interruptions. I really think it's so important to protect people's uninterrupted time. And I said, we need to pretend like the developers are on a ship with no communication. They're coming into port for one meeting. We get to load them up with everything we need them to do. Because for the first couple years, I was constantly changing my mind. I was the biggest offender, right? These rules for me too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, nope, we're gonna define these objectives for these 2 weeks. We're not gonna shift course because that's where we lose so much, not just productivity, but mental health. And people just they get burned out when you're constantly redirecting them.
Yep.
So I said, we can't add to-dos to them during the sprint. Once they're gone, they go out to port. Guess what? Their phones will work back to us for emergencies, for like, hey, wait, what's the clarification on this thing? And then we can connect and really quick solve it. But we're not going to change to-dos. We're not going to change priorities on what they're building for this sprint. And that was really helpful also.
Yep, very cool. So I'm curious, you have, what they should always make a recommendation. What about an issue that is perhaps so complex or so challenging, or someone's like, I think there's like one of 4 things, maybe it's almost kind of needs a whiteboard or brainstorming sessions. What about those issues? What should they do with them?
Yeah, I think that comes down to this. One extra rule is coaching your team to communicate the right message in the right channel. And I made this mistake as an employee too, where in a one-on-one, I love doing them. I would love being one. You finally get the boss's attention. I really enjoyed the one-on-one time. I would dread it leading up to it because it meant I'd have to stop what I was doing. But like, I really did enjoy developing my team. But when they're there, there's that connection that I think a lot of rookie employees will take that same energy and tone of the meeting, and they'll try to keep talking to me that way over Slack. Right. And it's like, no, that's not gonna work. Like, I think naming it, you just got to name it. Like, look, this is our time to do this. Mm-hmm. So we would use Trello where they could keep kind of an inbox for themselves of things that they wanted to talk to me about during their one-on-one.
Yep.
That way they weren't just, hey, Nate, I have this idea.
Yeah. That's a real danger of Slack. Kind of the rules that I've made with my teams over the years since Slack came around is if something is truly urgent and is blocking you and you need an answer in the next 20 minutes, then Slack me.
Yep.
But if you can wait, 2 to 4 hours, then email me. And frankly, I'm faster than that. If they give me email like this, I'm way faster than that.
Right.
And then, I don't even remember what overnight is, I don't know, carrier pigeon or something, but okay, cool. So as we wrap up, we have a couple minutes left. Obviously, this can be a big change for folks, and you can coach them into it, but are there other ways to implement this? How would you advise that a founder listening to this roll this out? Yeah,
so I put together this morning, because I was like, this is good for you guys to know you want, but I put together a quick training, literally like before I came in this morning, and I'm gonna share it in the Slack group. I'll give it to Xander, he'll post a quick 10-minute training, and I delivered this same content, but direct as if it's a training for your team to watch. So you could just share the link and say, hey guys, what do you think about this new strategy to help me give you answers faster? But I think the bigger thing is just having humility. Let's say apologizing. I think some of the best things I did as a leader is apologize when I made a mistake. Like, look guys, I'm new at this. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball here. I tried to get too much in the weeds because I like it, but you know what? I hired you for a reason. You're super talented at what you do. You should just go do it. And so these rules are as much for me getting out of your way as they are for you to be productive and really enjoy your job.
I think that's a really important way to think about it too. So we will get those into Shindig. We'll get it to producer Xander as well as the MicroConf Connect Slack.
Awesome.
Nate Grahak, thank you so much, sir.
It's an honor to be here, man. Thanks so much. Thanks for all of the investment and the time and energy to this community. I know this is weirdly remote, but man, this is such an honor to be here. And it's so cool to see you still making an effort to bring what can be like lonely as entrepreneurs. I think this is really important that we're doing this. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, sir.